on a bright and sunny Sunday morning, the final day of the season for the Rejump World Cup Championship on the big hill here in Planica. This is the biggest hill in the world for ski flying, indeed for all ski jumping, where the record stands to Andy Goldberger, set last year at 225 meters. Well, as you can see, it's a warmish morning. The crowds have been packing in since the wee small hours. In fact, the town of Kranjska Gora, just a few kilometers down the road here from Planica, has been alive throughout the night. Well, Adam Małysz is the man who leads the World Cup. He's won it already. Today, there are two objectives. For Adam Małysz to win today's competition and wrap up the ski flying World Cup title, and also, if he can, to register the 12th victory in his season, which would be an all-time record. Well, we're going to pick up the live action in a moment, but before, let's have a look at that record from last year. Andy Goldberger from Austria, 225 meters, and this is how he did it. Great timing, good power by Andy Goldberger, and landing further than anybody else has ever done. 225 meters flown in about 6 seconds off the end of the table. So that's the target. Conditions not too bad today. The organisers have drawn a 230-meter line across the hill. They are very optimistic here at Planica, but who knows? Well, we're now live here in Planica, and I can tell you that the man who leads the competition is America's Alan Alborn, who has just jumped 208 meters, and I can only apologize that we didn't get here quite in time to show you that jump. We'll try maybe to show it to you during the interval between the first two jumps. Anyway, let me introduce myself. I'm David Goldstrom. Thanks for joining us here on this lovely morning. It really is a packed house, and we've got not only a packed crowd, but we've also got the president of Slovenia and indeed the president of Poland here on this finale of the whole season. Well, let me tell you some news that's just come through. We are going to start again. So, in fact, I apologise for us arriving late, which indeed was beyond our control, but the competition is going to be restarted at a different gate number. The gates we were using was 15, and they've lowered it now, as you can see, top left there, to 14, to decrease the in-run speed, which has just brought a groan from the crowd. Because 15, we've seen that used in the warm-up, in the qualification earlier this morning. 208.5 meters was the longest distance jump by Finland's Tami Kiuru. So the jury erring on the side of safety, but the crowd don't like it. They've paid their money here to come and see an attack, and that's what they want. They want Małysz at 2:30. There's all sorts of banners here. There's Adam the Boss, King Adam. Everywhere there's a variation on the theme, but this young man at the age of 23 is a total star in Poland. And whatever happens today, it's been the 3 months of his life that he will never ever forget. He's a really level-headed, personable guy. His wife Isabella's here, and a whole contingent from Wisla. The Polish Olympic Committee are in the crowd. It's that sort of day, and we're so used to seeing the red and white of Austria. We might see those for Andy Goldberger, but I'll tell you what, there's as many red and white for Poland as there are for Austria on this sunny morning. The rain of yesterday's gone. They've used cement on the in-run to make sure that the warmish conditions don't affect the in-run stability, and to give all of these brave young men, because I tell you what, it takes courage coming down there at 104, 105 kilometers per hour, which for those of you back home watching on British Eurosport, if you like to have it in English currency, is around 65 miles an hour. It takes not only skill, not only technique, but it takes a clear head and quite some bottle to come off the end of that table to fly down over 200 metres. If you think of that, twice the length of your own local football pitch. And when you stand here at the bottom of the outrun and you look up to the top, which you can hardly see unless you back off 100 metres, it is 200 metres from bottom right to the top. A long, long way. So here we go. You've missed nothing apart from Alan Alborn's 208 metres, but I'm sure we're going to get plenty of flights over 200 metres. This is one of the test jumpers for the jury to decide that they're happy with gate number 14. There are, as ever, 5 judges marking out of 20 for style, and Lee of Norway, Lam of America, Goetz of Germany, Bosin of Italy, and Brash of Slovenia. 5 men marking out of 20 this morning. So once again, a very good morning to you. My name is David Goldstrom. It's bright, it's sunny. They've started once again with a new start gate at number 14. And here we go for the final competition of this World Cup season, the big monster ski flying hill here in Planica in Slovenia. To get us underway, Yuta Watase of Japan, wearing number 25. There are some jumpers who are going to take a re-jump. They've just gone a little earlier and they're making their way back to the top again. They'll be going at the end of the first round after Adam Malish and Martin Schmidt. So new standard, 128 metres from Yuta Watase. The calculation line here is the top red line. When you're looking at the hill, the top red line at 185 metres. And for every metre beyond, the bonus point is 1.2 points. The deduction for every metre short of that distance is also 1.2. So here we go. Martin Steinauer of Switzerland, who's got, as you can see, a personal best of 195. At 102.7, the in-run speed pretty modest, but nonetheless the conditions with the front wind there sees him go right up to the calculation line. Steinauer, who's struggled all season, but looking more comfortable than I've seen him since we began the World Cup in December. The Swiss, a little flourish for Bernie Schertl, their coach, towards the end. And that's not bad from Steinauer, just short of the calculation line by a metre. But good style, 4 marks of 18, no major errors. On we go. Anders Bardal for Norway. First season of World Cup for him, yet to go over 200 metres, but nonetheless, plenty of opportunity to grab a place in the Norwegian team. We'll be looking for new coaches for next season. And that's, again, short of the calculation line, a little shorter than the man who just preceded him, Steinauer. Around about 180, I would reckon. Again, I'm a metre out, 179, but those are fair style marks there for Anders Bardal, and this is all part of his education. Incidentally, one or two of you might have heard or indeed seen through our news programme the horrifying fall we had on Friday to the young Slovenian Robert Kranjc. He's fine, but that's the good news. Incredibly, he was tumbled down from the knoll at over 100 kilometres now. We all feared the worst. He's had a couple of nights in hospital and he's got a little broken finger, but unbelievably, that's it. Good news as we see the veteran Hans-Jörg Jekle shy of 185 metres. Hans-Jörg, who's rather struggled all the way through the season from Schönach. And he's really failed to get into the top 15. In fact, you've got to go back right to the third jump of the season in Kuopio when he was 17th to find his best of the season. It's not been a happy 3 to 4 months for Hans-Jörg. Neither has it been for the only Frenchman who's ever won a World Cup competition, Nicolas Dessoum. Trained by Heinz Koch this season, but the French must surely do better next year. In-run speed isn't too bad. Again, that little bit of uneven pressure, which brings him over to his right. But it's not bad. It's over the calculation line, and he gets the telemark. Again, just perhaps finding a little bit of shape towards the end of the season. But there is movement in the flight. The arms are out from his side and moving. The skis are also not as stable as the judges would like to see. But the landing's okay, and he holds the position well enough for their satisfaction. 18s, that's a fair judgment. 191.5, France lead. Tammy Kuru. Personal best of 211.5 in cracking form this morning. 208.5 in warm-up. Very good yesterday, also in the team event, which Finland won. Played a major part in that. This is Jani Ahoran's teammate from Latia. Kuru's gone long, and we might have a little chorus of Planica, which is what they play when you go to 200 and beyond. 25 years of age, and he really loves ski flying, and he's over and well over 208.5 meters, and that's the second time he's visited that point today. Good telemark on the end there, worth 19s. There's precious little wrong with this, and it sets a new challenge. And if you've just joined us here on Eurosport, and all of you back home in British Eurosport, 208.5 from gate number 14. That's where we're coming from now. The first round restarted, and 19s, 3 of them from the judges. That's a pretty high score, and 101.5 kilometers the in-run speed, low. So conditions getting better, but you have to take advantage of them. Now Andy Kootel could be good, could be awfully short. Never quite sure, but he's high, coming down to the calculation line, and too much of the speed was directed vertically, indicating that his position and his timing off the in-run were not correct. Kootel had a sort of patchy season. 8th in Innsbruck, the real highlight for him. But maybe he'll do better next season. At the moment, it's Kuru for Finland, Desum for France, Steinau for Switzerland, and now Martin Koch for Austria, who's really found his shape in the last couple of weeks. He's been whacking in jumps over 200 meters. And a little bit movement there, but he's really powered off the end of the table here, Marty Koch. He's looking for more than 200, and he's gone for more than 200. He doesn't overtake Kuru, but he is consistent. And in a sense, a local man, because he comes from Villach Kärnten, which is not more than an hour or so's drive from here, if that. So there'll be plenty of support come across from Austria to see him. 202.5 meters, and again, good in-run speed, but those marks look a little skinny. 16.5 there from Ormond Lee, the Norwegian judge, and 17.5 from Joe Lamb. Well, I was jesting with Joe last night in Papa Joe's, the local bar, about his judging. I was suggesting that some of the judges need to be sponsored by Zeiss binoculars, but he didn't take too kindly to that. But they're a good lot, the umpires and the judges. Alexander Hare hasn't really got to grips with jumping, or flying, I should say, this season. Alex has played his part, particularly in the German team at the World Championships. That's the highlight of his season, getting gold and bronze medals, and also a very good 7th place on the big hill. And I think Alex is going to play a major part in Germany's fortunes in seasons to come. He's been very steady, very solid, and I think Reinhard Hess, the head coach, has been pretty pleased with him overall. But yet to get over 200 meters. So still Tammy Kuru leading the way, and now Wojciech Skupian getting a huge burst of encouragement from the Poles. You wouldn't put too much money on him though, because Mateo and Skupian have rather underperformed for most of the season. But maybe they'll be inspired today with the presence of the president. No, it's short. Poles who finished in the team event, I think if I remember right, they finished in 5th place, which was a really good result for them. Particularly pleased to finish ahead of the Germans, but the Germans not at full strength yesterday. Great atmosphere. Hope you can hear the noise there. Everybody's really in good mood. The sunshine, it doesn't half bring out the best in everybody. And it hasn't been a tea and coffee morning, I tell you. It's been a vodka whiskey morning out there. Nakamura, promising 20-year-old for Japan, having a good end to the season. Particularly 28th and 15th in Oberstdorf in the ski flying, that was pretty good. And an 8th place in that funny old competition in Trondheim, but nonetheless he got an 8th place, and he'll take that as a season's best and also a personal best. 181 meters, 3-4 meters short of the calculation line, but we've got a long way to go in this. So here's Tarzan. Watch the build up there, a lot of beating of the chest to pump himself up. There we go. And there you can see that wind direction there, which is very interesting. You have to be quick to watch it because it just gives you the indicators at different places on the hill. Freiholz, also a little bit of form towards the end, but that was awful. Bottom down on the in run and speed cut off. So Freiholz, now you'll get the body language which will explain the reason why. So Jakob Jander, been really impressed with Jakob in the last 2 weeks. The real thing for Jakob is that he's clear in his head, he's actually jumping and flying well. The real thing is not to be too aggressive. If he can be smooth and take the speed forward, he can go a long way. But he just wants it so much at the moment, he sometimes just tries that little bit too much. Certainly the top Czech jumper of the moment. Where's he going? That's not bad. That is not bad. It's not 200, but it's in the 190s. And we've got 2 men over 200 meters at the moment. Just back a little, but he's getting there. You almost wish for Jakob that the season would go on for another couple of weeks, and then he'd probably find his top form. Got 194.5. He's got the telemark. A little squashed, but look at those marks. Judges like that. 19s, 3 of them. He just needs to put another good effort like that to give him a good heart to go and take a break and then come back for training. Zonta. Well, the Slovenians would love Peter Zonta to go a long way, but I have to say I wouldn't be betting on it. He's qualified this morning, but big wide spread, that's his style, but I'm afraid that was so predictable. He just hasn't got the feeling. It's just not clear, and you can't afford to take on this hill when you're not feeling clear. Incidentally, there are some absentees. I should just mention to them. Martin Hobart's not here. He's okay, perfectly okay. He's back home, but on Friday he had a little tumble, broke his right ski, ruined his shoes, and he thought this was not the place to try out new equipment, so he's not here. Andy Vidhersel, if you weren't with us yesterday, well, Andy's had a baby boy to go with his baby daughter, so congratulations to him and Katrin, but he's of course back home on family business, and his season's come to end. Andy will be looking for a better performance in what of course will next year be Olympic year. Christopher Jafs now, Sweden's #1, so close to a podium in Trondheim, but he's got a lot to learn about this. So still Kuru leading for Finland, and just just looking at the wind, there's a little bit of back wind in the landing zone. They didn't have much to help him, but he didn't really make any use of his power and carry his speed forward. Other absentees, Ahonen for Finland. Had enough, basically. I think that's the best way to describe it. As you see, the standings at this particular moment, Tamikuru, 208.5. That's Ahonen's best mate. We'll be watching back home. Yanni Ahonen. Vili Kante, back pain. That's not unusual for him, but he's just resting. He's done as much as he can. And those are the main absentees from the World Cup circuit at the moment. So as you can see, it really is a pretty nice day. All sorts of fan clubs here, and they don't go away from here either when the competition's over. It's party time, as it is for everybody. It's like it's a bit like being on the last day of term at your school here. Yeah, everybody's we've got one more exam to take for the jumpers. For us, it's one more commentary, and then we're all let go by our teachers. So just a little pause. There's no major problem at the moment. The wind, just looking out there, it is a backwind, so they've got to actually be technically very good to get over the knoll down to about 140 meters, where normally they can pick up a little bit of front wind that can take them for those long flights down into the red zone. And you probably can't see from that picture, but off to my right here, when I look out the window, there is an absolute mass of big coaches that have brought the thousands in. We haven't got an official count, but you're looking at a good probably 30 to 40,000. It's difficult to gauge the crowd here as it is in most of these places, but it's as big as it has been in recent times. It was bigger, of course, when Primož Peterka was the big champion here, but Primož, who's jumping today, and you'll see him when he rejumps a little later on, and he's 23 years of age now, the same as Adam Małysz, and says that he's going to mend his ways and come back next season. We'd love to see it. We're not convinced. He needs to, as they say, reduce the pleasures of life, and particularly the liquid ones. Henning Stensrud, I think you understand what I mean. Here comes Norway's good ski flower. This is what he loves to do, Henning Stensrud. And that's not bad. That is a pretty good effort for Henning Stensrud in the conditions. That was backwind all the way through. You may remember this man who was fourth in the ski flying world championships back in Oberstdorf in 1998, and he has a real taste for ski flying, and that's 195 meters, which is going to put him, I think, into third. Well, it's third or fourth place. It's the style, not as good as Yander, who was a little bit shorter but much more stylish, but there's not much between the two. It's Kura who leads by 11.27 points at the moment. Now Matea, well, there you can see that wind. It's not bad. This is not bad if Matea can do it. But his problem is he often puts in a good first jump and then fails to produce the second one, and that's about 187, 186, 187 meters. It's respectable, but it's not challenging. Remember, we're looking for a host of jumpers, the best, those who are fit, those who are still in top shape after this long, long season, to take us as close as they can get us to the world record. But I have a feeling that Matea, as you can see, with 188 there, I have a feeling the jury might be a little braver in the second round, and they might put the in-run speed up to let Adam Małysz and Martin Schmidt have an attack on the world record. Ole Magnar Durnham on his way. Norwegians have really got to do some work on their in-run. And that's considering he only had 103 kilometers of speed, was not bad. Norwegians, the faster the better for them. And Durnham, fair style, that's longer than both Yander and Stensrud, and it puts Durnham into third place. He's the top Norwegian. Durnham, who's not been showing up recently, the run-in on Falun, Trondheim and Oslo, where he didn't even qualify, has not been a sparkling one. He's got to go back to Villingen before the World Championships to find his best point score when he was 17th, and before that 15th in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. So not a bad opener there by Durnham. Now Igor Medved from Ljubljana, 19 years of age, and I think this young man, as I've said for the last few weeks, is a name for the notebook. Very promising. And Medved's going for a good jump. Oh yes, over 200 meters for Igor Medved. That's what they paid to see. And Medved, who was good in training, not so good in the team event yesterday, has found his form. 206 meters, and he really hit it with power off the end of the table. Took his speed forward. Style is okay. The skis are not quite level, and the landing, watch it here, just a little sideways. And they marked him, well, 17, I think it's Mr. Lee. It's skinny, but he is consistently marking down half a point lower than the other judges. So as long as he's consistent, it's not a problem. And again, 206 meters, and now Duffy, Christoph Dufner, who's been in great form here, 219 meters, a personal best here on Friday, and good wind. Look at that, there's a lot of pressure to be taken under the skis. This could be a good jump. Now if Duffy gets this right, and Reinhard Hess, come on, let's go. He's made the judgment. Dufner, one of the senior men on the circuit, but where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? Yes, that'll do. He's over 200, but he's well short of 219. Christoph Dufner, still just a winner once in his life in the World Cup, all the way back in 1992 in Oberstdorf, but a great servant to the German team, solid member of the German team when they won gold medals in the 94 Olympics and the 99 World Championships. Still looking to find his way back, but you see, 2-footing on the landing, so 17's a fair judgment, no telemark, goes fourth with 202.5. So Kuru leads for Finland, Medved for Slovenia, Koch for Austria, Dufner for Germany, and now on we go with Kazuyoshi Funaki. Vasevic might be his last season for the Japanese. That's the rumour. One or two suggesting he might even end up in Austria, which is not too far from home, but who knows? We don't think that's likely, really. Funaki, former ski flying world champion back in '98. But he's got a lot of work to do. He's had problems all the way through the season. He hasn't got the feeling beneath his feet. He hasn't got a clear head. He hasn't got the confidence, and he hasn't got the in-run speed either. Just about everything that could be wrong is wrong at the moment, and they've got to rebuild. He's a tremendously popular guy, and everybody would love to see him back to his very best. He's only 25, and he can easily come back, but they need to work. And I think the Japanese also realise that their dietary plan has been wrong. They're much lighter than they were, 4 to 5 kilos in some places, and they've lost power, and that also is a factor that's been really a problem for them this season. Now Roberto Ciccone, who sleeps in his own bed and then comes to jump. Here he comes. Again, another very popular man. Come on, Roberto. Over 180, but not 185. He lives in Tarvisio, and it's only about 7-8 kilometers from here, so he can have a little home cooking. He really is the one-man band. And I think when Roberto does call it a day, which will probably be after next year's Olympics, I think he's very keen to get in there with the young kids and regenerate Italian ski jumping. Whether he can do it in time for the 2003 World Championships, which are going to be on his home snow, I'm not sure. Now, Happy Harada, back after jumping for his club, Snowbrand, in the national championships, where no less than 75 Japanese jumpers turned out. So they've got strength in depth. But here's, with Stefan Horngacher, the senior man on the tour. Now, Esserbeit's just holding off now. Just looking, it is backwind at the moment for Harada. I have to say, he's almost always more effective on the 90 or the 120 than he is on the flying hill. So Harada, 9 career wins. Best he's ever done in Planica was 5th here a couple of years ago. He's down in 17th place last season here in Planica. But he's again a very important man in the team. He's not only a great jumper, not only a team player, but he's the spirit of the team. Loeffler. Well, it's been an up and down season for this young man from Oberstdorf, but at age of 20, plenty of potential. He's been vying with his teammate Michael Uhrmann all the way through the season. And that's fair. That's a fair performance from Frank Loeffler. It's all very easy to suggest that all of these men should fly to 200 meters and beyond, but that's not possible. From Oberstdorf, and just to whet your appetite, I know it's a long way ahead to think of next season, but the Four Hills, the Vierschanze, 50th anniversary next year. That's going to be quite an occasion. We'll be there with Eurosport. Hope you will be as well. Now Uhrmann, who's at the moment the better of the two. You can see his PB is 201 meters, 2 years older than Loeffler. And personal best this season, but you've got to go all the way back to early December till he was third in the second jump of the season in Kuopio. Also gold and bronze medals in the World Championships. And Reinhardt doesn't like it. He'll be looking for a little holiday sunshine after this. Mind you, Martin Schmitz, well, he's going on a jobbing holiday with 1 and 2. I asked him what he was up to the other night, and he said he's going alpine skiing, I think in St. Johann in Austria. I'm not going to tell you the date because we don't want you to go around there and disturb his holiday. But that's what he's going to be doing. There's the leaderboard. Kuru, Medved, Koch, good mixture of countries. And you can see the wind, and you can see backwind over the knoll, front wind as they come off the table. And there are indeed only 50 who've qualified. They kept their same numbers today because the qualification was just only an hour or so ago. Michael Uhrmann. No, that's well short of the 180-meter line. So Reinhardt was looking unhappy before, and so he is now. Well, I wonder whether it's going to be a finished day. Could be. Interesting in the rankings for the Ski Flying World Cup. As we see Tony Nieminen can be quite effective. Tony Nieminen. Mika Koyankowski, lots of stories about him going off to coach the Norwegians, but that's all rubbish. He's going to stay till certainly to the end of Salt Lake City, and who would blame him? He's got such a good squad of jumpers that it would be ridiculous for him to disappear. He was disappointed in the World Championships that it didn't come right on home snow. That's always difficult, but then the following week he was a pretty happy guy in Oberstdorf. He's had Jusselainen jumping and flying well, Jussi Haltamaki. His brother, by the way, is an absentee. Matty's back home. He's called it a day for the season. But when you think of the strength and depth that the Finns have got, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. What we'll be looking for is a renaissance next season of the Japanese, which is something we'll all welcome because it makes the global challenge that much richer. So Tony Nieminen now. Remember him, age 16 when he won the Olympic title all those years ago in Albertville on the hills of Courchevel. But he's found his way back. And Nieminen, no. But he does give credence to the fact that you should never write anybody off. Remember Adam Mausch, winner in 1996, his first success, and 2 more in 97. Then he hit problems, and he's worked, and he's worked, and he's worked. And together with his trainer, Polonius Tyner, they've come back together this year. So from 1997, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't fun, and they fought their way back here in 2001. So you can come back. That's why Funaki should not be discarded. Now, Yoshioka, a rising star for Japan. I think this man might be a contender next season. He's not a contender this morning. And I must say, you always need a little bit of luck on the ski flying hill. And the conditions were not that great for him. So Yoshioka outside the top 30 in the ski flying World Cup rankings, 146.5 meters, only 24th, so I'm afraid we're not going to see him in the second round. It's very, very unlikely. Disappointing, that. Next man up is Slovenia's Yuri Radel, so lots of interest here for this 23-year-old, again Ljubljana based. At one point he was in the world's top 15, but then in recent times he's dropped out of that position. In-run speed is okay, but that's about all. And it is certainly backwind over the knoll, and it's conditions at the moment are difficult. We're having reduced from gate 15 to 14. It's always a difficult judgment, and 26th, and Yuri Radel now is also a casualty, I fear. There, those buses I remembered. I remarked to you a little earlier. They're pouring in here since 6 in the morning. Now, Veli-Matti Lindström in hot form, junior world champion, member of the Finnish team that took the junior world title, 18 years of age, from Lahti, rising star. Could so easily have been put into the world championship team. He was there as a pre-jumper, test jumper, and he was out jumping 2 or 3 of his teammates in Lahti. But Mika Koyankowski stuck to his plan. He's been as far as 218 meters. What can he do with these conditions? They're dead wind, absolutely nothing as he was coming down to the calculation line. But this is good enough, I would think, to see him through to the second round. He's plonked down pretty hard in the landing, but nonetheless, distance-wise, he's 175. Where's that going to put him? And 20th, so it's on the border. It's on the borderline. It'd be disappointing to lose him. But he didn't have much to work with. And Lindstrom in 8th place as a result of his 2nd and 8th place finishes in Oberstdorf, and of course that 2nd place in Oberstdorf is personal best. Now Miyahira, by contrast, in Oberstdorf he was 30th and 10th. Jumped 207 meters yesterday for the Japanese team, and that's a good effort. And to be honest, the conditions were not that much different between him and Lindstrom. So this is a good jump here by Miyahira, 197 meters. So absolutely no problem about him qualifying. His personal best is 212. And Miyahira finishing the season better than he started it. So now, next man up now, Jussi Hautamäki. Hautamäki, 204 meters yesterday in the team competition, a new personal best for him. And Hautamäki, yep, that'll do, puts him in with a chance of attacking on the 2nd round. Of course, it's relative because we don't know where Mauish is going to go, we don't know where Schmidt will end up. But again, good in the air, the flight is okay, the skis are steady, the landing is fine. Just a little canted out there, but Hautamäki 191.5 to put him in the top 10 at the moment. You'll see, 3rd in Sapporo is best ever. Now, Ingebrigtsen, arguably one of the most extreme jumpers, and it could be anything. 219.5 meters, equaling his personal best here yesterday. Ingebrigtsen coming over the knoll, and he's going over 200. Oh, he's gone over 210. He has got the feeling, and Ludwig Seitz gets Ingebrigtsen's performance, the one that he wants, and that is the lead for Tommy Ingebrigtsen from Trondheim. 218.5 meters, but he lives on a knife edge. He could lose it as much as he could make it, but he's made it here. But remember, ski flying, like ski jumping, is about 2 performances, not 1. But Tommy Ingebrigtsen, the 9th best ski flyer of the season so far, 8th and 4th in Harakov, 16th and 19th in Oberstdorf, leads, and now the world record holder. Alexander Pointner invites Andy Goldberger to go for 220 meters or further. He's been in great form, found a lot of his lost power. The telemark should be there, it is. It's not as long, but he does get the telemark landing in, which is important. So popular, plenty of fans, and he's a gentleman as well. He takes time out to go and visit his fans who come down here. Seen him for the last couple of nights. He just makes time to find them, go and spend a few minutes, chat to them, which they appreciate. That's why he's got a big fan club. 4th place, 203 meters. And Andy yesterday, who, when he jumped in the 1st round and hit 200 meters, actually recorded the 200th 200-meter jump. And he jumped, that was, he's actually notched up before today 16 200-meter efforts. So the one you've just seen is number 17. Now Jani Soininen, 203.5, that's the furthest Jani's gone. Well short. He's had a lot of waiting to do, didn't jump with the Finnish team. And I think it would be fair to say that mentally Jani's season finished pretty well after Oberstdorf. He was 11th and 21st in Oberstdorf in the ski flying, which was not too bad, but the Nordic run-in has not been a very successful one for him. Now, Stefan Horngacher. They don't come much tougher and they don't come much stronger. And he has played such a solid part in Austria's performance right the way through the season. Everybody would love to see him get a result, and he's very close to 200. Maybe 197, 198. But Stefan, 32, like Harada, 32 years young, and he's right on 200, so good for him. Right on the line, absolutely excellent. And he's been an absolute model of consistency. 12 top 10 finishes so far this season, which is really good consistency. 17.5s, well, he has been putting down without the telemark here a little too often, but he does get the distance. Now, Leutzel. Well, there'll be no doubt about this. This man will put a telemark in. He's likely to get 4 or even 5 marks of 19. It's only a question of distance. And he does it with such ease to produce the telemark. Let's have a look at this. From Bad Mittendorf, the Austrian home of ski flying. Well, the telemark's there. Absolutely nailed on. He's just a little short in terms of distance. Almost needs a little bit more power, take a little bit more speed with him, and he'd get that extra distance. But again, only 21 years of age, former junior world champion at 190.5 meters, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks of 19, unanimity amongst the judges. So it's Ingebrigtsen who leads for Norway, Kuru from Finland, then Medved of Slovenia still up there in 3rd place, Goldberger is 4th, Koch of Austria 5th, and the first 7, Horngacher in 7th, all over 200 meters. And now another style perfectionist, face between the skis for Noriaki Kasai, and Noriaki around 194. Again, power is his problem. Style is certainly not. Kasai, the one victor for Japan this year, 190.5 meters, a little bit more, a little bit less than I suggested. And the star marks there, 17.5 from the Slovenian judge, Vladimir Brash. I think that's a bit short change, Mr. Brash. I think he deserved a bit more than that. Kasai going into 15th place. Now, Risto Jussalainen. Jussalainen, who's 3rd, 65 points behind Mauish in the ski flying World Cup table. So if he has hopes, he's got to nail it here. Good power from Jussalainen, looking to go long, and he's going long. Yes, sir, and a telemark from Jussalainen. Terrific form in the ski team championship yesterday, and this is worth 19s across the board, and probably 19.5. It's the long, well, it's not quite the longest jump, but it's the best jump surely. He's got a perfect 20 from the judge, who I just criticised, and I'm going to criticise him again because it was good, but I don't think it was a 20. 19.5. The ski's actually a beautiful landing. 217 points. He's 5.3 points ahead of Ingebrigtsen, and it's a Scandinavian leaderboard. Jussalainen from Ingebrigtsen, Kuro. 2 Finns separated by a Norwegian, with a Slovenian back in 4th place. But now, let's hold tight. Martin Schmidt didn't go for the German team. 2nd in the ski flying World Cup rankings. Where are we going today? It's a good, long flight, and a telemark as well. And Martin Schmidt, who's saved his power for today. And treatment and the Planica song. 219 meters is Martin Schmidt's personal best of 2 years ago, and he's very close to that. But look at the style here. If Usalainen was good, this was virtually a match. And 18.5, 19. And Martin Schmidt is in the lead, but only by 0.6 of a point, which in terms of distance is half a meter on this huge monster hill. So Germany leading from Finland, and now the master, the boss, King Adam, the leader in the ski flying World Cup. Twice a winner in Harakov. And where is Mawish going? He's got to tell him up, but he's not as long. Now, this is interesting. Schmidt and Usalainen have got the advantage on Mawish. 212.5 meters for Adam Mawish, which equals his personal best. Good style, no problem there, but he's not in the first three, and that really opens it up, because Adam Mawish today, remember, is looking for World Cup victory number 12, and if he were to achieve that, it would be an unprecedented achievement. No one has ever done it. He's got 11 to equal Martin Schmidt's achievement of last season, but one more and the record would be his. We're not done. We have to go back to the beginning of the first round. If you've just come in, the early jumpers came out of gate 15. Jury weren't happy with that, thought the speed was a bit high, so we've got half a dozen or so to re-jump. And who do we start with? Then Primož Paterka of Slovenia. Up there early on this morning, around 180. And he's around 180, he's probably just a little bit short of that. Paterka still pretty popular, the crowd would love him to come back to the sort of form he showed in 1990, 1997, 1998, when he was winning the four hills, winning the ski flying World Cup. He's got so many things still to achieve. World medals, Olympic medals. Now Karl-Heinz Dorner for Austria. Dorner, once upon a time very useful young junior ski jumper for Germany, Austria I should say, picked up 3 team medals. No, that's not a qualifying jump. So he falls by the wayside, I'm afraid, and goes out. So Dorner, certainly one of 20 jumpers who you can see 38th in the ranking. It's Martin Schmidt with 218 meters. And of course, if Martin Schmidt wins today, he will deny Adam Mawish that record, and he could win the ski flying World Cup. So plenty to go for. Mati Uram now for Slovakia. Good first jump from him this morning. One of the best that I've seen him produce, and that's a good effort in pretty dead conditions. There wasn't much there. Uram, 188 meters in the jump that didn't count, 172 for the Slovakian. And the Slovak team is small and struggles financially. So you have to put all of that into context. They don't have the Deutschmark power of the Germans. Now, Ramoran. Now this man is also one for the notebook. First season in the World Cup. Comes from Oslo, 19 years of age. That's okay, but is it going to be good enough to squeeze him into the top 30? You can see there what sort of day it is. You can see the crowd. Lovely shot from our colleagues. No, he's 172 and he's out. Doesn't make it. Transkagora down the road. If they widen this picture, you could see some beautiful white top mountains. The scenery here very dramatic. Now this is the Korean Choi Hung Shui. Don't know why they turn his name around, because they never write it the other way around in Korea. Coached by Jochen Dannenberg, who deserves to get a better coaching job. I don't mean that disparagingly to the jumpers he's coaching now, but I just have a feeling that if he, for example, ended up in Norway, could really show his ability and his experience. Former Four Hills champion Jochen, an Olympic medalist. He knows exactly what needs to be done. He did really well to bring the Koreans onto the World Cup stage, but I have to say, I don't think the Koreans, that's the Olympic Committee and the Federation, treated him very fairly when he did do that. They didn't really let him carry through the task. They suddenly wanted to grab the glory before the job was done. Now, Lukas Kruczek from Zakopane, one of a host of young Polish jumpers looking to catch the trainer's eye. And for those of you over in Poland, I gather that there's going to be a ski jumping competition. I think it's coming up in the coming week at Zakopane. Małysz will be there, and a lot of invitational jumpers to celebrate the season. Małysz's appetite is clearly still to be satisfied, but I can understand that. It's the sort of occasion where you just want your life to go on and on and on. Primož Rejump. Now, one or two think that in time this young man will be even better than Peterka. He had cruciate knee ligament problems last season, which has really set his progress back. Very well-balanced individual, teenager. Now, can he squeeze into the top 30? No, I don't think he can. So the Slovenians at the moment, their brightest light is Igor Medved in 6th place. Rejump next season, watch out for him. I think he will play a bigger part than he has in this season's campaign. Just a couple more to go, and then we'll be done with this first round, and we'll know the top 30. Jaroslav Sakala, Saki, in his role as a privateer, really. Precious little support, Czech skis, but the world ski flying champion here in Planica way back in 1994. But no second jump. Juratek and Yesh, who look after the Czech team this season, have given Saki a lot more help and a lot more encouragement than previous coaches. But it is a struggle for him. And not all of these young men earn the sort of living that Alan Małysz and Martin Schmidt do. Supported by their national federations, but it's pretty modest. And earning a living is tough. Which is one of the reasons why Martin Schmidt didn't compete in the team event yesterday. He was critical, didn't believe that this was the occasion to have a team competition, believed that we should have had 2 individual competitions, thought the prize money of 20,000 francs, Swiss francs, was derisory, and that the jumpers in this million Deutschmark circus deserve more prize money than they're currently getting. I'm not sure that the way he went about making his protest is necessarily the right way, but I do share some of his sentiments. I'd like to see a little more wealth coming into those who go to the top of hills like this come down and put their form on the line. Now, America's number one. Cancelled out jump of 207, 208 meters, I think it was earlier on. The pilot from Anchorage in Alaska, Alan Alborn, the name. And he's having a really good finish to the season. Come on, Alan. Yes, that's surely good enough. It's just around about 183. And again, the wind flags on the landing zone, absolutely vertically down, nothing to help him. 182.5 there for Alan Alborn. Style is okay. Could be better, but he's made it into the top 30. So that's really good. His personal best is 210 meters, which he achieved in Oberstdorf. And glad to see that Alan, who's really the only one who's had a second jump here and made it count. So the situation is at the end of the first round that Martin Schmidt, who else, leads, but look at that, only by 0.6 of a point, half a meter, that's all it is between himself and Juselainen. And then Ingebrigtsen for Norway, just off the pace. Then Adam Mauish in fourth place, 6.6 points. Now, what's that? That's, it's about 4 or 5 meters, so that's well within his compass. He can easily do that. So the second jump, just to let you plan your Sunday morning, is going to be at 12:35. Of course, that's 11:35 for all of you watching over on British Eurosport. Those of you down in Portugal and those of you up in Finland, it's 1:35. We're going to take a little break. Stay with us here on Eurosport. Good atmosphere. We'll have a look at some of the best jumps, but it's warming up. I'm sure the in-run gate is going to be raised to increase the speed for the second jump.